The night sky over the South China Sea was a pitch-black canvas, broken only by the sweep of searchlights and the sharp glow of navigation beacons. Suddenly, a shriek of metal echoed. A Chinese Coast Guard vessel rammed into the side of a Chinese destroyer. Water sprayed high as the two steel giants collided, sparks flying just east of Scarborough Shoal, deep inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Just meters away, a smaller Philippine Coast Guard ship darted between the looming hulls, engines screaming as the crew dodged disaster. Tension crackled on every radio channel as officers barked orders and scanned radar screens. As dawn broke, the scene was already making headlines around the world. The clash was more than an accident. It was a warning, a symptom of deeper tensions roiling beneath Asia's contested waters. The events unfolded near Scarborough Shoal, a rocky reef that has become a flashpoint in the South China Sea. The area sits inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, yet it is claimed and patrolled aggressively by China. On that night, a Chinese Coast Guard cutter and a Chinese Navy destroyer were both on patrol, shadowing the Philippine Coast Guard vessel. The Philippine ship was conducting a routine patrol, enforcing the country's legal rights. The Chinese ships, larger and more heavily armed, closed in. In the confusion, the two Chinese vessels, likely communicating poorly, misjudged their positions and collided. Sirens blared as Chinese sailors scrambled to assess the damage. The Philippine vessel found itself momentarily caught between the two Chinese ships, a dangerous spot with the risk of being accidentally rammed. The incident was over in minutes, but its significance lingered. This was not just a maritime mishap, it was a vivid reminder of the risks that come with aggressive maneuvers in crowded, contested seas. The question was not just who was at fault, but what this near disaster revealed about the region's volatile balance of power. As the massive Chinese vessels collided, the Philippine Coast Guard ship found itself in a perilous spot. The crew's training kicked in instantly. Quick-thinking officers issued sharp commands. Full reverse, hard to port, engines roaring. The smaller ship, designed for speed and maneuverability, weaved through the narrow gap between the Chinese behemoths. Radar blips merged and separated as the Filipino crew dodged falling debris and crashing water. Every second counted. A single mistake could have meant disaster, or worse, a deadly international incident. For the Philippine sailors, this was more than a test of seamanship. It was a matter of national pride and survival. Against the odds, they broke free, leaving the Chinese ships scrambling to regain control. The Philippine vessel raced towards safer waters, its crew battered but unbowed. Back at headquarters, the mood was tense but triumphant. Officials praised the crew's courage and professionalism.
Our Coast Guard showed the world what skill and resolve look like.
Their escape was not just a narrow miss, it was a powerful message to Manila, Beijing, and the world. China's military has grown at a staggering pace, both in size and technology. New destroyers, Coast Guard cutters, and even aircraft carriers now patrol the South China Sea. But as experts say, steel can be built fast, experience cannot.
China has invested billions in hardware, but their crews lack real-world experience. High-pressure, multi-ship operations are complex, even for seasoned navies. Accidents like this are a warning sign. The rapid build-up has created a dangerous learning curve. Chinese commanders are under pressure to assert dominance, sometimes at the cost of safety and discipline. Communications between military and Coast Guard units can break down, especially when both are jockeying for the same patch of sea. It's a classic case of overreach. China's ambition outpaces its seamanship. That's dangerous for everyone. Each new accident raises the stakes, not just for China, but for every nation with a claim, or a ship, in the South China Sea.
In the aftermath, analysts and officials weighed in. Rear Admiral Victor Santos, a former Philippine Navy chief, put it bluntly, if those ships had hit a Filipino vessel, our mutual defense treaty with the United States could have been triggered.
International law is clear. Ships operating in another country's exclusive economic zone must avoid dangerous maneuvers. But China's approach is often a lot more aggressive.
They really do treat these waters as their own backyard, and that leads to risky behavior, and, as we saw, real accidents. What happens after an incident is just as telling. In democratic nations, maritime accidents trigger investigations, apologies, even resignations. But in China, the script is different. The government rarely admits fault. Instead, it blames outsiders or buries the story. Accountability is the key difference. Democracies are transparent about mistakes. China covers them up or twists the facts. That's dangerous. It breeds more recklessness. The world's navies are watching China closely. Each misstep has the potential to spark something far more serious.
President Marcos Jr. is taking bold positions, making headlines with comments about Taiwan.
If conflict breaks out over Taiwan, the Philippines will not stand idly by.
The stakes in the South China Sea have never been higher. As news of the collision spread, Beijing's propaganda machine sprang into action.
Chinese state media downplayed the incident, blaming reckless maneuvers by foreign vessels and accusing Manila of fabricating provocations. On social media, patriotic voices repeated official talking points, fueling nationalism at home. When Chinese ships are involved in accidents or confrontations, the government tightly controls the narrative. Images are censored, crew mistakes are hidden, and any sign of weakness is erased. Instead, officials claim China is the victim of foreign plots.
Experts like Dr. Fiona Lee, a media studies professor, see this as classic information warfare. China uses propaganda not just to control domestic opinion, but to shape the global story. By blaming outsiders, they justify more aggressive actions in the future. For those on the receiving end, like the Philippines, the effect is chilling. But facts have a way of surfacing. The struggle for truth is as fierce as the struggle for territory, and just as important for Asia's future.
While China grabs headlines, Japan is quietly transforming its own military. This year, Tokyo welcomed the arrival of F-35B stealth fighters, jets that can take off and land vertically, even on short runways or decks. For the first time in decades, Japan's Navy is restoring aircraft carrier operations, converting its Izumo-class ships to launch these planes.
Japan needs to defend its interests alongside partners, says Commander Keisuke Matsumoto. The F-35B gives us flexibility, reach, and a credible response to threats, especially in the Ryukyus and the East China Sea. After years of pacifism, Japan is preparing for a tougher regional environment. The message to Beijing is unmistakable. Japan will not be caught unprepared.
Just as Japan boosts its air power, Australia is forging ahead with its own plans. Last week, Canberra and Tokyo signed a landmark agreement. Australia will purchase advanced Japanese frigates for its navy, deepening military ties between the two Pacific democracies.
Defence Minister Richard Marles hailed the deal as a turning point. The new ships will help Australia patrol distant waters, from the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. Joint exercises, intelligence sharing, and coordinated patrols are all on the rise. For both countries, the goal is clear: present a united front against any threat, especially from China. As China's actions grow bolder, the region's democracies are drawing closer, building the capacity to defend their interests together.
The midnight collision off Scarborough Shoal was more than an accident. It was a signal, a warning that the South China Sea's storms are far from over. For the Philippines, Japan, and Australia, the message is clear: unity and preparedness are the best defense against intimidation. President Marcos's bold words, Japan's revival of carrier operations, and Australia's new defense deals all point to a new era. The region's democracies are no longer content to watch from the sidelines. They are building alliances, sharing intelligence, and strengthening their militaries in the face of rising Chinese assertiveness. For China, the lesson is sharp, rapid growth without experience can lead to costly mistakes and international embarrassment. Reckless maneuvers and propaganda may work at home, but they cannot erase the facts at sea. Asia's waters are now patrolled not just by rival powers, but by new partners committed to peace, sovereignty, and stability.